I grew up in the South in the 80s, and it was unheard of to talk about child sexual abuse or anything of the such. On the outside, my life seemed perfect. I went to a private Christian school, and my mother was remarried to a much older man who had a wonderful job. We lived in a beautiful home in a very safe neighborhood. We had a lot of money, but on the inside, our life was a living hell. And at a very young age, I felt like I couldn't tell anybody what was happening. So I began to act out in other ways. At 8 years old, I was sexually abused by someone in my family, and at 9, I was abused again by another member of my family. My mother had mental health issues. She had bipolar disorder and multiple personality disorder, which is now called dissociative identity disorder. So being raised by my mom was extremely difficult. I loved my mother to death, but it was hard to, identify with her and to be the child in that relationship, because she was also like a child herself. And I felt like I had no one to turn to when I was going through this abuse. There was also physical abuse on top of the sexual abuse. And the sexual abuse felt so shameful. And I just repressed those memories for most of my life. And I dealt with the sexual abuse by developing an eating disorder. At 8 years old, I developed binge eating disorder, and for 2 years, that became my comfort. That became my way of dealing with the abuse. And at 10 years old, I developed bulimia nervosa. Stuffing down the food was my way to comfort myself, and then purging was my way to deal with the pain. And I became addicted just like that. So for a long time in my teenage years and in my early 20s, I was quite promiscuous. I went out into the world, and I was determined to be sexy, and I wanted to just get the attention of guys as much as I could. And I didn't correlate being promiscuous with sexual abuse, because I had blocked out those memories. And I was hurting so much in my soul for a long time, and I tried to fill that void with drugs, with alcohol. I was addicted to drugs. For a long time, I was I had an alcohol problem for a few years. I tried to fill it with sex, and just meaningless sex. I was attracted to abusive men, and nothing could heal me. Nothing could heal me. And I felt so ashamed of what had happened to me once I finally began to deal with my past in therapy. And I was finally able to get help for everything, get help for my eating disorder, get help for my drug and alcohol addiction, get help for, why I was being promiscuous. But it all started when I dealt with the underlying issue, which was the child sexual abuse. And I realized that, hurting people hurt people, and the people who had abused me were also hurting too. And I learned about forgiveness, and I learned it was in my best interest to forgive so that I could be set free and release all of that hurt and that pain in my life. And through the power and the grace of God, I've been able to completely let go and be healed. And I even have a good relationship with one of the people who hurt me in my past. So I know that it is totally possible to completely heal and even forgive the people that have hurt you, that have sexually abused you. But it is hard work, and it takes commitment and perseverance. So if you're a victim of childhood sexual abuse, I want you to know that there is help available for you. Just go to peacefulheartsfoundation.org, and there are tons of resources available for you. You can submit your story. You can submit a video, and there's always someone available to help you. And we look forward to hearing from you today. Thank you so much.